Hey everyone, this is Exploring Fiction, and welcome back to another video.
Hey, before we get to the video, check this out. 99% of my viewers are not subscribed. If you're a part of that 99%, please consider subscribing, as I would love to have you here. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
So guys, recently I just finished up watching Moon Knight, and I just want to give you some of my thoughts and just kind of my thoughts on the MCU Disney Plus shows as a whole. So, going forward, there will be spoilers for Moon Knight. I know it's been out for a while as of the time I'm making this video, but either way, I'll give you guys a warning. And yeah, let's get right into it. So, guys, I thought Moon Knight overall was the best MCU show. And I've kind of been saying that about a lot of the shows, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But honestly, I thought this show was entirely carried by Oscar Isaac. I mean, kind of as it should be. He should be the main attraction. But I thought everything else was a little bit flat. So Oscar Isaac was great. I loved his dynamic between Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. His acting ability in the show was off the charts. I mean, it was impeccable. The way he could switch with a snap of his fingers from one of his personalities slash accents to the other was incredible. And I thought every scene he was in was great. And I really liked seeing the interplay and scenes between his different personalities. And also, another great thing about this show, I thought, was the kind of build up of the mystery and intrigue. Because you're kind of wondering through the first 5 episodes of the show, like, what's real and what's fake. Because, you start off with Stephen Grant and Mark Spector not really knowing each other exist, and then they're fighting for control and everything, so then you realize they're existing at the same time, but he's blacking out. And then you kind of get into this asylum world where it makes it look like Mark Spector is going insane, and Ethan Hawke's character, Harrow, is kind of his psychiatrist. And so you're wondering, is that really what's going on here? And then the only problem I have with this is the intrigue and the buildup of the whole idea of this is a crazy person, so we don't know what's real and what's a figment of his imagination, is that the finale never gave us payoff. So the finale never showed us what was real, and this leaves a problem. Because an unreliable narrator is a great asset when telling a story. But eventually, you kind of have to tell the audience what is real so that we can unravel the intricacies and the details of the mystery ourselves. And although we realize that Mark Spector was the real version of Oscar Isaac's character and Stephen Grant was the one he made up to suppress horrific past events, you never really it's never really clear what life path was the real one, because the whole asylum thing sequences were cool, but they weren't very well explained what exactly they were, because the first asylum scene was taking place on that boat to in the underworld, but then it appears again when they defeat Harrow and his feet are bleeding in the psychiatrist office. So why that's happening all of a sudden, who knows? The opening scene of Moon Knight was Harrow putting the glass under his feet, and they didn't bleed until the finale, but what was the significance of that? Either it went way over my head, or I never really figured it out, and I'm guessing it was the latter. So, another problem I have with this show is some of the side characters. Not really that they were unlikable, but more that they were just forgettable. Layla's character, who I believe is Scarlet Scarab, and then Ethan Hawke's character of Arthur Harrow, and then some of the other Egyptian gods and goddesses. I thought they were fine, but they were pretty forgettable, and Harrow's plan of judging the world or releasing a goddess who will judge the world prematurely. I guess that's a cool concept, but it was executed in a very MCU style, and it made it kind of boring in the end. And that kind of leads me into my overall issues with Disney Plus MCU shows as a whole. I gave favorable reviews to this show now, Loki, and Hawkeye when they all came out. But honestly, looking back, taking them all in together, and keep in mind I haven't watched the What If show, and I don't really plan on it, but all the MCU shows are all just kind of bland. They feel very much like Disney is trying to capitalize on the prosperity and the popularity of the MCU being in the limelight, and they don't feel like they're made by creators who really want to tell that story. They feel like they're being made by people who want to make a lot of money. And of course, money is no bad reason to be motivated. A lot of people are motivated by money. But I just think it doesn't make for the best end product as far as entertainment goes. And so for me, it feels like all these shows, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye, and Moon Knight, are all just kind of blending together for me and feel the same. You hear the phrase cookie cutter thrown around a lot. And that's just kind of what I feel like about all of these shows. Sure, they have their surface level differences, and there are some parts better than others, but to me they just feel all really bland and kind of the same. And, aside from WandaVision, which you kind of need to understand Wanda's place in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, for now they're all skippable, and I'm sure they'll all tie in sooner or later to the films. However, they just feel really bland and honestly boring in retrospective. So, Oscar Isaac as Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Moon Knight carried the show Moon Knight through his sheer incredible acting ability. However, I honestly think if you're trying to get away from supporting woke corporations that hate you, you really don't need to see Moon Knight. It was enjoyable enough. It was the best Disney Plus MCU show, but again, that's not saying all that much. So guys, if you've seen Moon Knight, let me know below what you think / thought of it. Leave a like if you agree or enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you're new here. I would love to have you. Anyway guys, I will see you next time.